This is Oh, we didn't introduce you properly? No. Okay, that's Justin.
I think we did introduce it. It's Mike Tyson, ladies and gentlemen.
Mike Tyson.
I'm hanging out with these guys because I'm a Green Beret and I got hurt, and you saw the show last night. So I'm speaking at the shows because Sturgill on his own. Well, let me back up. I got blown up in March, and I was in the hospital. Previous year, I'd got come off of a deployment, had 11 months before the second one, was a bit down in the dumps, got divorced, had a dude die on the first trip, so it was kind of it was real rough to deal with, and then was listening to these dudes quite a bit, and then led into the next deployment. I was there a month, boom, almost died pretty hard. Teammates saved me, and we had blood on the ground, I got blood on target, and then they made a hellacious movement to get me to the medevac. Long story short, I'm eating dinner in the hospital, one of the first meals, jamming out to these dudes, and I was like, Mom, I want to meet Sturgill Simpson. And then she tried to get a hold of him. SOCOM eventually did, and he came, hung out for 2 hours. I made my friend now, General Baudet, wait 15 minutes so that we could finish talking about what we were talking about, which when you're an enlisted dude, you don't make generals wait. But I was on a lot of ketamine, so it was sweet. But then Sturgill had it on his own accord to donate to the foundation. So this little tour going on that coincides with the actual album release is donating to the Special Forces Foundation. So that helps Gold Star families, which are the families that remained of the friends that got killed on this trip. So there were 4 Green Berets and 2 EOD techs, and so that money's going to them, and that's what I care about. I don't I'm alive. I don't have any legs below my knees for those that can't see my legs on the video anyway. And I don't have my testicles either, so that's a different set of challenges. But I don't care about getting taken care of other than the normal Army processes, but I want them to get taken care of from the foundation. So I'm grateful to have these guys as friends now. They're awesome. They're amazing musicians, but amazing people. And then I'm grateful to be here and just to push that out. So people that are coming to the shows, all that money goes to the foundation, and then people can go on the foundation's website, which is specialforcesfoundation.org. And yeah. I appreciate it.
That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
man.
really, really, really cool. That's really cool that you're doing this, and thank you for coming here and telling everybody this. This is it's a great way to help out, and your music, to connect it to that. I think that's just a fucking incredible thing. It's really cool. When you were sending me the text messages telling me that you were going to the hospital, it's very touching.
It was yeah.
Yeah, you were, you could tell you were seriously moved by this. And, for someone like you who truly understands the consequences of war, the physical consequences in a way that none of us will understand, it's very, not just, it's brave of you to talk about this, but it's also, it's so valuable. So valuable for everybody that hasn't served to understand what it really is. So thank you for that.
Well, I always say I really like combat because I was in a lot of it, relatively speaking. Bunch of guys have been in way more combat. Bunch of people have treated more casualties. I'm a medic, but I was in a fair amount. Almost got killed on the first trip a good handful of times, and then so I just don't like the war aspect when you see your friends get killed. And you're stuck in a hospital bed on top of all this stuff that's, I didn't shit for a week. I pissed blood for a week. I've had tons of nights of excruciating pain. That's the life of an amputee. Or there are guys that are worse than me, so I'm just grateful for having what I have. And, yeah, that's the beginning of it. Especially on ketamine, when you're going through all that and you're just I was telling the people that took the trash out in the room, hey, I'm grateful for you, brother. Right on, brother.
What is ketamine like after a catastrophic injury like that? Does it relieve the pain? Does it just put you in another dimension?
So ketamine is an MDA.
Pull this sucker right.
Yeah. Ketamine is an MDA antagonist in the brain. So it essentially is a dissociative. So the way that it feels, because we learned this in class as a medic and everything, But the way that it feels is kind of it takes your perspective, and it's like it always felt like a whirlwind if I was getting a push of it. But it's like you're starting to get your vision masked, and you're still there, but you're dipping into like subconscious because you're still conscious. Because unconscious would mean that you're like you pass out and you cannot have a gag reflex depending on how unconscious you are. So ketamine, I would close my eyes and immediately trip the most insane balls that you could imagine and open them, and I'd be back in the room and I'd be like, what the fuck?
Whoa.
And then a friend of mine, when I left my first rotation, he was an Air Force CCT that got blown up in the same village I had a few casualties in. He stepped on ID. He's an above the knee, some missing fingers. But when he was on ketamine, when he was awake and looking around, he'd see the walls on fire. And then there'd be like women, like white, pale skin in the corners, peeling the skin off their back. And he was like awake. And I was like, dude, that's
shit.
like whatever. I don't know. It must be like someone's psychology when they go in, like set and setting type thing. But I was in it when I got a lot of ketamine. My legs are blown off. I'm getting worked on. I'm telling dudes how to treat me. I cut my own shirt off. And then I get the ketamine, and I'm like in and out, and I see these visions back and forth. And like I was convinced there are two distinct moments I was like, I'm not going to make it, and had that conversation. So, whew. And what's surreal about this right here is that you were talking to him on this show, and you guys talked about combat medics, and you were like, I just sing in key, and I was like, right on, they're talking about me, and then I got all kinds of jacked up